The role of Blanche Dubois is one of the most iconic figures in all of American literature. And that is the first, that is the sort of the first struggle and exciting pieces about this opera, is theatrically and coming from a theater background, really utilizing the skills that I learned from all of the fantastic Tony Award-winning actors that I've worked with in Minneapolis, using their all of their skill sets in researching a role and how to explore what that means physically, and really figuring out what the gestures are for each moment in the work. And working with those kind of actors in operatic world, really listening to the music and listening to the themes and remembering that Blanche brings on everything. She is the spark for everything in this show. And then going into Blanche's world and trying to figure out how she relates to each character. That's really the place to start, and really start from the play itself. The first thing I did was read the play over and over and over again and contact every actor that I knew that had anything to do with this production at some point in their career, whether it was directing it or I happened to encounter somebody who had played Blanche quite a few times recently in Sacramento and other places around the world, and had a really frank conversation about the large brushstroke of Blanche, and then really figuring out who she is in this world of the South, which I don't understand. It's a completely different culture than anything I've been a part of. And luckily Brad Dalton, he was so open for me to contact him and say, look, what do you think of her? I'm reading the play. This is what I'm coming up with. And he sent me some great research videos he took from Belle Reve and from the South, and really talking to women that grew up in different generations of the South, and what Blanche might have looked like, and why might she have gotten kicked out of the town in which she lived, and what it would have taken, what were the stakes? I mean, why was she kicked out? That's not something you hear about in the South. And for her, every moment the stakes get higher and higher, because she's about ready to fall apart at every turn, and the only thing she can really hold on to is her name, the Belle Reve portion of her life, the traditions of the South, and really holding it together and presenting herself in a way that, of course, we know is mask after mask after mask, because she has lived her life. Everything is driven by shame. Everything that she does, every way that she speaks, everybody that she speaks to throughout her life is in shame, and it gets revealed throughout by different characters in different ways. And although she's started off her life as a sweet person, things have happened to her, and she's made some incredibly rough choices that resulted in dire consequences. And she's been spinning her wheels trying to figure out how to survive. And I think that is another huge portion of the culture of women in the South, is they are survivors. They will adapt. They may have lost everything in the Civil War, but they will continue, and she really, really inhabits that. So to inhabit that dichotomy throughout this entire opera is challenging, is exciting. It's also exciting in one way. There's a lot of the play missing and a lot of the nuance missing, but I'm really excited to dig in and figure out what that looks like physically, because we've still got to bring in her sense of humor and her sense of dignity throughout. And even though much of the nuance is missing about her being an English teacher and having so much knowledge about literature and poetry and music, and her love for that group of people that really inhabit art is really going to be exciting and challenging.